Hello and welcome to Conversations with Spirit, where we take you on a journey to discover and unveil spirituality and healing. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video and click that notification bell. I am Jai Gobind and I am from Channel for Grace here on YouTube. And we have Danny here from Northern Comfort Tarot. And we are going to be talking today about the second coming and the true message of Christ consciousness and what does it really mean. And so before we get into it, I would like Danny to introduce himself real quickly, and then we'll tell you guys why we're excited about this specific topic.
Hey everybody, it's Danny here. This is my channel, Northern Comfort Terrell, way up there. If you guys want to donate to the channel, or if you guys are interested in getting a reading with me, you can check that out in the About section on my channel. All that stuff is there. Aside from that, really tonight's topic, the second coming of Christ consciousness. What does it really mean? To me, it's funny because I come from a background of Christianity, right? Like I grew up, I think it was like the Roman Catholic Church, then I went to the Pentecostal Church, and then from there interdenominational, trying to find whatever. But I was really following my parents on their quest to find some kind of happiness, right? I always heard about the second coming as this physical appearance of Christ coming through the clouds type of thing to rescue the Christians, right? But the Christianity kind of, it really played heavy on me, and I fell away from Christianity because it just was so heavy with burden and so heavy with like grief and, you know, negativity and stuff, that it just really didn't sit well with me. But it's funny now, looking through the eyes of me, going through my ascension and stuff like that, things have changed. Things have changed in my perception of Christ consciousness, or even the second coming of Christ. And really, that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Yeah.
And so I want to say hi to the people in the chat real quick. William, how's it going? Adrian, how are you? Rebecca, welcome. Amanda, Terry, Sheila, and Cynthia, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. And if you would like to be a moderator tonight, let us know and we'll tell you what that entails. It's really easy. But if you would like to, that would be awesome. That would really help us out a lot. So the reason why I'm excited about this topic is because I kind of went through a similar experience. So I was born in Argentina, and Argentina was, you know, in South America, pretty much the Spanish, you know, took over. They conquered a lot. And so there's a lot of that culture from Spain that is kind of takes over a little bit of, you know, the natural or the authentic, or the more of like the tribal cultures of Argentina. And so the community, you know, in South America, at least where I was born, was very much Catholic, like very intensely Catholic. My grandma was Catholic. My mom was Catholic. Like I was baptized in the church in the little town that I grew up in. And I remember, you know, growing up with that and going to church and all of that. And and then when we came to the US, we went to a Catholic middle school and then a Catholic high school. So that was like in my life, like for a long time, right? Like the church and the teachings and all of that. And they made us go to church, like in elementaries or in middle school. And then in high school, they actually made us go to church and stuff. And so there was something to me, because I was always kind of a little more awakened than the other kids, like a little bit more aware of the
badass.
Yeah, right. Like the dimensions and like what was going on, and very, very visual with everything. And so I kind of felt like a little weird, you know, it felt like kind of uncomfortable because it didn't really feel authentic. It felt very like authoritative, and it felt very much not like spiritual at all. It just felt like we were just following the rules, And so I, later on in life, when I had like a stronger spiritual awakening, I actually decided, I'm like, well, I've never really felt comfortable here, so I'm just not going to identify with it anymore. Even though I have this background and, I'm definitely like grew up with it. There's certain things that I do identify with. Like I have my grandma's cross that she wore like every single day, that my mom gave to me like not too long ago, after my grandma passed away. But, now I have it, and like she wore that every day. So that, like, to me, that's very sentimental. But it's a cross, you know what I mean? And I wouldn't normally wear a cross unless it was my grandma's cross, So things like that. And then when it comes to the topic of actually Jesus, like I really identify with Jesus. And so
Dude.
we're gonna get into that. Yeah, we're gonna get into that a little bit more. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of my background, and the fact that I eventually walked away from the Catholic Church and stepped into spirituality, which is basically what the topic is today. But we're talking about the second coming because it's something that I believe is already happening, and we'll get into the details of that. But that's why I'm excited about this topic, because I feel like we're kind of afraid to touch it a lot of times, but I feel like it's really necessary for us to actually talk about it. And like, what does it actually mean in your life?
Even today, when I was doing the announcement, I was like, fuck. How do I listen? How do I get it out of my mouth? And how do I, it's not necessarily tread lightly on some things. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and that's not what we're here to do tonight. Everyone has, their choice on whatever religion or whatever. Like spirituality is an inner choice, right? It's a personal choice. It's like sexuality.
Right.
I'm not even going to go there, but like it's,
yeah, don't go there.
it's really that choice that you make as an individual, right? That's your connection to yourself. That's your connection to God and nature and others. And you know what I mean? So
yeah,
we're here to definitely uphold the love and respect for everybody. And
of course,
definitely all about unconditional love, basically.
That's really what it's all about, because I actually just uploaded a video today about intuition, and you guys can check that out on my channel. It's called Channel for Grace if you want to. But I actually mentioned this thing about faith, and that, faith is something that is like, it's very important in our lives. Like if we don't have faith, we pretty much don't have anything, if we don't have hope, faith, like those things are essential to our life. It's like when you have faith in something greater than yourself, it inspires you, and a lot of times we've given that word faith the attachment of like, well, faith goes with organized religion. You know what I mean? So it's this thing that happens, and then we kind of are like, well, I'm going to step away from that. And so we're like, well, now we have no faith, but that's not true.
It's called backsliding.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's that you actually transition, and you actually realize that faith is not actually what you were told it was. It's something different and something really powerful. And when you have faith in yourself, everything changes.
So in a traditional sense, did we answer that question? What is the
No, not yet. Let's go right into that. What's the question?
Yeah. What is the second coming in a traditional sense? So to me, it's end times kind of from a biblical standpoint. I cracked that out today, by the way.
Nice.
It's here with us. But from a biblical standpoint, it's at the end of days, right? Or end times when I guess Armageddon's kind of put in there too, right? There's like this fight between good and evil, and Christ comes back to rescue his followers, those that have fell behind, and then those that have the ones that have, I guess you would say dead, but it didn't say dead in the Bible. Like the ones that were of the old faith or whatever would get lifted up first, and then the Christians that were alive would come. Like it's quite the Hollywood scene, you know what I mean? It's like fire and brimstone and the sky parts and
well, here's my take on it. Like there's actually, this is interesting because there's actually a lot of like religions that acknowledge Jesus, either as a prophet or as like what we would say like the Messiah, right? Like the one, Neo, just kidding. The Christ, right? So for the religions that there's many different sort of belief systems when it comes to the second coming. So, but basically, like you said, it's more or less a story of someone coming to save us from our sins.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
It's in the physical, somebody coming from the clouds, which never really made much sense to me because Christ didn't come from the clouds in the first place, right? He was born into it, right?
Well, here's the funny thing, because the stories, if you make, and this is where it starts to get kind of fun, because when you actually start to look at the message and you start to think about what is it actually saying, and you look at, because now we're here, right? This is like more than 2,000 years later or whatever. Like now we're here. This is a different time. And we get to look at it in a different way. We get to look at it from our point of view, not from the point of view of like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. And like where it's like, I guess shit went down 2,000 years ago. But I was talking to you today about this, and really, like I'll read something from the book, the good book, because now I've come to a point in my life where spirituality is taken over, and it really, these things in this book have a different meaning to me now. You know what I mean? Like, because we're looking at it through a different lens. So I'm going to read Matthew 16, verse 25.
Okay, go for it.
For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Dude, like that's a shamanic death right there, man. That's like fucking, man, that's like what I went through last year.
Yes.
Because I was losing everything, every part of me, right? I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost everything. Like it all kind of just fell away in pieces. And as my life shattered and was beneath me, I raised up. I raised up in unconditional love. And I allowed unconditional love to envelop me, right?
Yeah.
And really that's what's healed me, or is healing me now, and has brought me so far on this journey, on the journey to awakening or a journey of ascension, and it's like I'm being cradled in his arms and brought to this new state of consciousness, this higher state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. But
yeah, exactly.
Isn't that cool how, if we look at it through our eyes now, how different things could be?
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so this brings us to a very important point. It's, who was Jesus? Like, where did he come from? And what was his message here on earth? Because now we're talking about a message coming through. You know what I mean? It's coming through this form, but nevertheless is a message. And that same message is coming through in many different places. So what do we make of that? Right? So I'll ask you, and then I'll put my input. But who was Jesus, and what where did he come from and what was his message here on earth?
Well, if you strip away all the logical and you strip away all the, nationalities and fucking isms and all this shit, who was Christ? Christ was unconditional love incarnate. And he came here to guide the masses back to unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
Simple fucking message, people. How the hell did we screw that up? How fucking hard is it?
It's because of control.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Yeah. It's like, like Christ he wasn't here because he was here to start a religion. You know what I mean? Like he was an ascended master. And here's my take on it. He was an ascended master that there was a divine plan for sure. And then this was his job. He was to come to planet Earth. Okay. This isn't the only world in the universe. He came to the planet because it's like there's prophecies and there's things, and we need to get this world, this planet prepared for the ascension, the ascension of the planet. And so you look at it in like, you open up your mind, you open up your perspective to see it like way bigger than like, having blinders on. You see such a huger picture that it kind of blows your mind. But
beautiful.
So I know. So we've got this ascended master that comes to planet Earth to get us ready. And he knew that what he did then would kind of go dormant until like 2,000 years later. Like he knew that. He knew exactly everything that was going to happen. I mean, he studied, and there's a really good book if you guys want to reference. It is a channeled book, which means someone literally channeled the message and wrote it down, which basically I feel like all books are like that pretty much. But it's called Anna, Grandmother of Jesus. And it talks about, it's way out there. So if you feel called, I would say follow your intuition for sure. But if you look at it and it doesn't feel right, then don't, because it's like really out there in a really good way. Like if you're ready for the information, you're going to just soak it up. But basically, that book tells the story of his grandmother and how his grandmother was literally in the flesh, kept herself alive because there was like rituals and ways of doing that, like very deep meditations. And, she was also a master of the school of the Isis, the mystery schools of Isis and stuff like that, which was something that was going on like underground back then. There was these schools and people were learning the magic of the goddesses and the gods and these ascended masters, right? Mm-hmm. And so she kept herself alive for like almost 600 years so that she would get prepared and she would get the community prepared, right? The Essenes for Jesus coming into the planet. And, when you think about that, you're like, what are you talking about? But like, that's what I'm talking about. It's like, it's way beyond what we could even imagine. So that, that's a good source to look at. But basically, like where I was going with that is that what's happening right now it's meant to happen. Yeah. And the message is, like you said, it's unconditional love. And it goes even deeper than that.
Yeah. It's a good place to start because I think I look at the relationships that I have in my life, and there's not too many that have true unconditional love. Mm-hmm. Like if I do something really fucking bad, my grandma might never talk to me again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what, I'm not even going to say stuff, okay? Because I'm not going to take it down that to low vibe. But she loves me unconditionally, but there's a point, there's a breaking point, right? Mm-hmm. To me, love, unconditional love is love, period. There is no other form of love. If it isn't unconditional love, it's lust. Mm-hmm. Because
interesting. Yeah.
There's conditions. There's like, it's just,
The
It's
thing is that like, that's what I don't, it's funny because I don't, this whole concept of like good or bad, or like sin, because lust to me starts to attach to like this world of sin, which is part of the organized religion thing, right?
yeah.
And it does have, so lust does have a negative energy to it. So what, like the way that I like to look at it, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just wanted to throw out my perspective, but the way
Just
that,
a conversation.
yeah, the way that I like to look at it is it's almost like the dark versus the light, or the negative energies that kind of take a hold of you. It's more connected to the ego and what the ego wants, and it's not really the heart. It's mostly in the head, not enough in the heart. So when you really think about dropping to your heart center, from your head to your heart, I heard somebody say really beautifully, the hardest journey you'll ever make is dropping from your head to your heart. And I think that's Don Oscar Miro Quesada from the Pachacuti Mesa tradition. So, and he says that's the hardest journey you'll ever make. The longest journey you'll ever make is dropping from your head to your heart. And he says, and now is the time where we are now returning from the heart to the mind, which is like the completion of the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot to plug in the computer, so I'm going to go do that real quick. I'm going to pass it on to you for a minute.
Just to add to that is is really like when we talk duality and we talk light and darkness, right? It's there is no real negative sense, To me, everything is necessary. And if you look at the law of attraction as well, the law of attraction, you need it will give you like if you want to find true love, you have to go to the depths of the opposite of true love, like absolute heartbreak and dismay and like abandonment, before you can actually truly taste true love, or taste that and know what it is and recognize it and vibrate at the same level as it is. So to me, like when you use terms, they don't really come in a negative connotation, like even prostitution. Oh, it might seem dirty and all this stuff, but really it's not, to me, it's not to be shunned. It's like, we all have to go through what we have.
It's a process. Yeah. Yeah. Everything you just said reminds me of karmic cycles.
Yeah.
And the fact that, there's certain experiences that we choose to have in this world. And that's why this whole idea of sin is kind of like, I don't know. But I think at a certain point, for example, there's a difference. Like when you're here and you have a mission, say you're a light worker, starseed, twin flame journey, whatever you want to call it, you have a mission and you didn't really come here to get stuck in the karmic cycle of the planet, because there is such a thing. The karmic cycles of the planet have been going on for a long time. I do believe that they are ending, or they have ended, like we're moving to the new earth. But I feel like when you think about these things and you think, well, that's good or that's bad, or, oh my God, that person is, not good. The truth is that there's no judgment there.
Yeah.
Like there's no judgment. When you think about the universe, when you think about God, source energy doesn't judge anything. It just lets things be, because that's what they are. And that's what they need to be, is exactly what they are. Mm. And yes, they can transition, and yes, they can change, but nothing's stuck. That's the coolest thing about this world, is like, we're not stuck. If you think you're stuck, that's you're creating that reality. You're creating that world for yourself of stuckness. And then so you're going to experience everything as stuck.
Yeah.
But if you open your mind a little bit, you can change. Anybody can change. You can become a completely different person. So many people do when they begin to awaken and step in a spiritual path. And a lot of it has to do with stepping into the heart And Adrian just said, he said he thinks that the dropping into the heart thing was like actually easy for him.
Yeah.
But the truth is that, a lot of us are, when you initially, begin to realize that there are certain things about yourself that are very egotistical or egoistic, that are very controlling, that are very kind of narcissistic, and you have these tendencies, it's like, that's some rough ground to accept. Like, that's a rough thing to acknowledge about yourself. That's not easy, but that is stepping into your heart too.
I was always from love, right? I always emanated unconditional love. Everyone thought that I was creepy because I love so much. And I'm like, damn, that's fucking weird. But anyways, so I I know what you mean when like transcending, when you take this feeling from your heart and you bring it to your third eye or your crown chakra, you bring it into a mindset, into action. That's where you get like triggers and stuff. And then people do trigger you or say and do shit that just fucking lights you up. And that is all a part of that transition process.
Well, the thing is that, what happens is you literally, going from the head to the heart means like standing in front of a mirror and looking at yourself, like fully looking at yourself. And even though judgments are going to come up because you have these stories in your head that you've learned since you were a child about what's right, what's wrong, what's wrong with you and what you need, you know what I mean? There's all these judgments. So we judge ourselves, and then the voices in our heads of like our parents or the people that brought us up, they're judging us too. And then they become our inner voice. And so those voices are judging us inside of us. And so we just keep repeating that process. But when you look at yourself fully and you notice those things and you look at it very, very with a lot of clarity, and you say, or you think, or you feel, I know that I'm not perfect, and I do want to, I want to step more into the light, and I want to release all of these things that they're really not me, because I just learned how to do this, but it's really not who I am inside. And you look at yourself without judging yourself, with unconditional love. That's what it means to really be in the heart. And that's the message that Jesus brought to us.
Yeah. And to love the process, love yourself, love the process, love each step of the way, because, even though the what's that verse? The path is long and the trip is weary, that whole process of getting to where, you can actually see through different eyes and through unconditional love, and you can have compassion on a Mother Teresa level, or, you know what I mean? Like getting to that next level and leveling up in consciousness and leveling up in like dimensions, right? From the 3D to 4D, 5D and on up, moving on up.
Right.
That's every step of the way is to be nurtured and accepted and loved,
I have actually a good question. And it has to do with whether one person could come to earth and be recognized in the way that Jesus was. Do you think that can happen, in your own opinion?
Right now, I don't think so. I think everybody would just be like too into themselves, right? And Christianity and shit, that they wouldn't even
recognize who he was.
No, they wouldn't. Even if he got primetime television, right? And maybe a movie or two, I don't think they could see him. Like look at what's his name there? Jim Carrey. Look at Jim Carrey. Look at where he's come from, right? He's a comedian. And he's awakened and he's stepped into spirituality and he's on his path and shit. People think he's fucking crazy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I agree with you. here's where I like kind of bring it kind of home a little bit, because here's what I really believe, and why the reason why like we really did this episode, and what is the second coming, and what does it really mean? What is this Christ consciousness that we speak of? And I think that the second coming is really about this Christ consciousness being sort of kind of, in a way you could say, infused into our essence. And the people that come to this planet with that essence, with that love inside of them before they're born, it's like their soul is almost like this beautiful expression of love. And that's the light workers. You know what I mean? That's the star seeds. And we come because we chose to come, and we knew that we were going to bring this Christ consciousness onto the planet. And I don't think it can happen with just one person. I think that's the reason why we miss it, because I feel like, one, it's already happening.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Two, it's not happening with just one person. It's everyone. It's all of us. The Dalai Lama, he's a very beautiful spiritual teacher of the Buddhist tradition. They've had a Dalai Lama, for I don't know how many years. Once one died, the next one came into the power, whatever you want to call it, the teacher seat. And then once that one was gone, then the next one came. And the Dalai Lama right now has said that there is no more Dalai Lama after me. He said, we will no longer have a one teacher. And you know why? He said, because the next Dalai Lama is all of us. It's the community. It's the connection. It's basically what he's saying is this unconditional love that I call it Christ consciousness. You don't have to call it Christ consciousness. You can call it like unconditional love, something else. But that's the next Dalai Lama. Like, that's the next teacher. That is the second coming. And I think we miss it because of that,
Yeah. And even like, we miss it because we seem to get caught up in the following, right? Or it seems like the vibration on this planet, everyone just seems to be caught up in a savior and what they can do for you and how they can save you from whatever. And
the thing is that, we don't need to be saved.
You don't need to be saved. And even Christ was teaching that he didn't want anybody to follow him, even really. It's to follow your own path and honor your own path and honor, and Christ consciousness is really, it's not this new age fucking term or anything. It's just looking at the world and everyone in it and everything in it through Christ's eyes,
Yes.
And seeing that everything was made from love and everything is love and everything will return to love through, and everything is love and through Christ's eyes. Like, and that's where we can strive to go to, and we can go beyond that. We can rise above that. And that's really the ascension into the heavens is really that's where that speaks of.
Well, I feel it. This visual of a stream is coming to me, because we like to think of like, okay, we like to sometimes use the term stream of consciousness riding or something like that. And so you just ride whatever is flowing, right? Well, there's a stream of consciousness that is this Christ consciousness that you can literally like connect to or tap into or, be with or whatever. And when you connect to it, you bring it to form because you're a human body. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And so what do? We manifest things into reality, whether we like it or not. We're creating, we're creating our world with everything we wish for, everything we're asking for. And so for us, when you step into that Christ consciousness, when you align yourself with that stream of consciousness, you begin to bring it to form into the physical. That's literally what's going on with the light workers.
Yeah. And I like what Barb had to say. She said, time is all consuming, past, present, future is one. When you were with the divine creator, you came here, you had no memory of him. So he came as a man, a creator, to remind you of your purpose. And to me, that sums it right up. It's like he was just here to show you guys the way to be, like the way to not.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what we're coming back with.
Yeah.
There's many of us.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a consciousness that we're bringing to the planet.
And
we're like seeding the age of light, you know?
Sure. Yeah. It's not a literal sense. It's more, it's like it's a consciousness. It's a state of mind. It's a state of oneness with everything.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is a state. It's a vibration. So raising that vibration of the people will raise the vibration of the planet and usher in a new world, a new planet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we're all seeing other than a 3D mentality or 3D kind of where you're in it and this is me, and like you're an ant pretty much on the face of a planet that's and in a universe that's whatever, right? There's something bigger out there than, my girlfriend left me. It truly is. And really, my girlfriend left me, but she's going on her own path, her own journey, and she's like, learning new things, and it's really exciting. And you should be excited that they're taking the next step and that you were a part of their journey. Then concentrating on like getting back at her or whatever.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, there's before we get to the card reading, because we will do that tonight, I want to ask one more question. And that is, what does Christ consciousness have to do with the new earth? Are they similar? Are they the same thing? What's your opinion on that?
I think in order to usher in the new earth, you have to raise your vibration. And through raising your vibration and achieving Christ consciousness, you are in essence creating the new earth. Are
right. Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree with you. That's what I was going to say too, is that like stepping into Christ consciousness is raising your vibration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so as we all start to do that, and the way you do that, I mean, we have a lot of videos on that. I have like an entire course called the Earth School for Lightworkers that teaches you how to start to do that. But basically you have to heal yourself. You have to step into healing. Like you have to literally kill the person that you're not and make room for the person that you are.
Yeah. Like that Matthew 16 verse 25.
Right. Read it again.
Okay. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. The life of the 3D, going to the hockey game, like really being enthralled in that lower vibration. Right. So, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. So whoever loses that 3D life goes through their deaths, right? The 10 of Swords popped up, goes through that 10 of Swords and comes into balance, Temperance card, bam, I'm pulling out the big guys. You're releasing this 5 of Cups mentality, like you've lost something. You're releasing this energy and you're coming into Christ consciousness. You're coming into the new world. You're seeing things through new eyes, and you have the ability to manifest what you want in your life. I think that might have been sacrilegious what I just did. I was using tarot and the Bible at the same time. I don't know if that's ever been done.
That is funny.
And you will be reunited. 6 of Cups. Damn. I don't know. There's like, it's getting juicy.
It's getting juicy. Yeah, we've got
4 of Wands. Wow. Tower card in reverse. Dude.
Huh. Interesting.
Dude. Should I keep going? Like the 6 of Cups is being reunited with with someone or something, right? So reuniting yourself with that level of or that level of that vibration of unconditional love, that we came into this world. We came from source. We are source energy. We are love. Getting back into that will bring that Four of Wands, will bring heaven on earth here for you to experience. And it takes those tower moments. It takes those things in that release of letting go to move on to calmer water. Six of Swords. Holy shit. Like, that's such a beautiful message. I'll leave it there.
Okay. That's beautiful. I love that.
Enjoy the journey, they said, with the Two of Wands.
Nice. Yeah. So what we got here is the Pillar of Light, which this reminds me of what, like, connecting to the Christ consciousness. It's like, this is what it looks like. It's like you connect to your light, and everybody can do it. It's not just for one person. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. I love that. This is what happens when you connect. We also have the Soul Family card. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone. That's amazing. Because sometimes we can feel alone when we're awakening, especially when we're going through our transitions. We feel very alone. It can be a very lonesome journey, because it's still like sort of like the early stages, and there's a lot of us, but we're still getting to know who we are, and so a lot of us are still kind of lost in the matrix. Haven't yet taken the red pill. You know what I mean? So those of us that have taken the red pill, we are alone in our higher consciousness. And for those of us that are still kind of in the matrix, you're still trying to get there. You're still trying to figure it out. You're starting to question your life, right? And that's why it's so important to find Soul Tribe, so that you don't feel so alone. We got the Get Grounded, empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. This is like basically what happens. It's like you have to honor yourself by taking care of yourself, doing the self-care, because when you're on this journey, it's not an easy thing. But, we got the owl, which is like, we have to listen to our intuition as much as we can. We have to be very regal, like the lion. And we have to remember that this light, like this consciousness, it'll come like a flash. It'll come to us in this like beautiful expression, but it won't, unless you kind of catch it, unless you listen to it, unless you pay attention, unless you dive in, it'll go away. It'll come back, but you know what I mean? It's like there's this essence of it that is fleeting until you finally step into it. You fully surrender into it.
Yeah. And it's definitely a stage, like a step. You take steps to that, to your awakening. You take steps to your ascension.
Right.
I'm not even going to get, the ascension can be like, that's a totally different show, man.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. But no, that's cool. Those are two beautiful readings. And we would like to open it up to questions if you guys have any. I don't think I saw any questions get posted up, but I could be wrong. If you feel free to post the questions right now, this is your opportunity. And before we close it off, and I'm so like, I really enjoyed this conversation. And I really think, like I said in the beginning, it's something that we need so much to talk about, especially for those of us that do feel like we're, lonesome on this journey, feeling like, what am I doing here? It's like you awaken and you're like, what is going on around here? This is not who I am. How do I function in this world now that I know the truth? How do I do it? What am I supposed to do? What's my mission? That's part of what waking up is like. It's actually stepping through portals of awakening.
For sure. Yeah. Cynthia had a question earlier on that she just posted again.
Okay.
And that was really the practices of eating the body of Christ and drinking his blood type of thing. To me, what that was, and that, like, we spoke a bit about how, like, Christ spoke in parables, right? In order to bring it down to a level that people could understand. Well, taking and taking drink of his body is taking in unconditional love and allowing it to completely consume us, right? Like become a part of us, become like so ingrained in the way we are that it's like it's DNA changing. You know what I mean? Like taking his essence, and the essence of physical is that essence of like, it just shows how much of him that he wanted us to be a part of. And that's source energy. Like it's stepping into source energy, stepping into that vibration that he is on. So if you could take a piece of him into you, it's like the seed that grows into this beautiful plant or this beautiful tree or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just one seed. Each seed that we take in builds our vibration and raises us up. So that's what I got off of that. I don't know what you get.
That's beautiful. And I think that's, when you ask that question, what does it really signify, right? Because we're going underneath the surface here. We're not like, this is what it means, blah, 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 blah. We're actually going underneath the surface. That is what it really means. Mm-hmm. But not a lot of people see it that way. And what happens when you have something that is, there's a separation, because now the body and blood of Christ are outside of you.
Right. In an individualized world, right?
In order for you to you just get a little piece of it. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't, but the truth is that, so this separates it, because then you think, okay, well, that now Jesus is something that's separate from me. And I have to like take it into my body. And even though it's a ritual, it's a beautiful gesture. And it has that, when you think of it with the meaning that you just gave it, it becomes this really beautiful ritual. It becomes almost like a prayer, right? Mm-hmm. And I hope that people do take it like that. But the truth is that Christ is within you.
Yeah.
You are that Christ consciousness, and it's not outside of you.
Dude, we are children of God, right? Like this is in the word. We are children of God. Christ is my brother. You know what I mean? So in essence, I am God. God is within me. I have the power to create. I am at the same level that he is at. You know, and it's within me to be, because I am. And that's where I am because I am, or I am that I am, right? The I am is us. It's the collective. We are all a part of it. So there is no separation. I love the way you said that too. Like we are not, and it seems like in the 3D, we become separated, right?
Right. It feels that way, but it's not that way. Yeah. It's our perception gets very like narrowed.
Yeah. And this whole, like I read something today about in Buddhism, the lack of self is what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to move away from individuality and more towards community and oneness, where in Christianity, it just seems like you're separated, right? And individuality is what you strive for, but could be farther. It's like farther from the truth. We mm-hmm. are one. We will always be one.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Rebecca has a really good question that I like to answer. What do you think the crucifixion was really about? Was he taking on karma from others, or did it even happen at all? It did happen. He was not taking on the karma of others. What he was teaching us through that is that we are a spirit, that we're not just a body. He was teaching us that there is life beyond this physical time-space reality that we're so attached to. And he showed us that because, and the truth is that, like, if you want to, you read it in that book, Anna, the grandmother of Jesus, she talks about how basically he was like above his body. Like he didn't feel any of the pain that his body went through, that process. It was like he was kind of hovering above it. He was like outside the consciousness of his body. And he learned how to do that by, learning how to meditate with the masters, living in the Essene community, like learning the mysteries of the school of Isis, and that's he was able to go through that without feeling any actual pain. So basically what he was teaching us is that we are so much more than just this physical body. We have a soul, and that is actually more of us than we think. That is who we are. We are not this physical body. And so that's really was the lesson, but obviously it got twisted, and he came here to rid us of our sins. And it's like, no, that's not what he came here to do. He was a spiritual teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. William says the cross to me is our spirit being manifest in the physical. The trident of Shiva makes me think of the ability to bend reality as the two arms are bent upward. Our spirit can shape reality. Nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know if you had something to add to that.
No, I'm good. I'm just like, I'm sitting in this peaceful kind of energy right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't even lit any Palo yet.
I do. I feel it. I love it.
Yeah.
But I think we're good, you guys. I think we can close it off. I don't think there's any more questions. I feel a little bit complete,
Yeah, and it wasn't really like an hour and a half topic to begin with, really. It was just coming and sitting with you guys and really talking about the things that have made up our life and that make up our new life and moving forward, right? So like, by all means, open up the Bible again, or check out the Torah, or you know what I mean, and see the similarities, and try and look through the eyes that you have been gifted. That you have been gifted true sight. You've been given that true sight from where we came from now. So now you can interpret this book in a totally new light through unconditional love. And I'll even, if you're going to check out the Bible, or just like you got nothing else to do, but check out the Bible tonight or whatever.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah. But anyways, I take out the name of Christ and put, or whenever there's a reference to Christ, and put unconditional love in its place. And man, this book it'll bring you to tears. That's how fucking unbelievable it can be, but I'm not going to read that tonight. I got dumber things to do.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us live tonight, and for watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, please share this video with your friends. Make sure, if you guys are in the chat right now, if you could X out of it and hit the thumbs up button and then come back into the live chat, that would really help to start to get it circulating. We're always welcoming in. Yeah, what's that?
For sure. And circulating things have been, like, I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I got Libra went to 3.3K views. Things are moving, shaking on your side too, Jai. What's happening on your side?
Yeah. No, things are definitely starting to move in both of our channels. We're always welcoming in suggestions for future topics. So leave those in the comments of the video, and tell us what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about. This is kind of really exciting for us. And if you have not checked out our previous episodes, definitely go do that. I have actually linked in the description the episode 8, so last week's episode. There's also a playlist. You have a playlist, right, on your channel of the Conversations with Spirit?
I haven't.
I have a playlist on my channel. If you guys want to go check that out and look at all the past episodes, because that's really fun too.
Yeah, you don't have to search for them.
Yeah, next week, Danny is not going to be with us, but I will be interviewing Stacy Jewell from the Bejeweled podcast. She's actually the one that interviewed me like, I can't remember how long ago it was. It was maybe a month or longer ago, but I'm going to be interviewing her, and she started a podcast, and she's going through her journey of awakening and spirituality and ascension. So it's going to be really fun to have her on the show, and it will be on my channel, Channel for Grace. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Just put it on your calendars, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And we guys hope you have an amazing night. And if there's anything else you want to share, Danny, before we go.
I truly just want to say hello to all the new subscribers that have come into our channel. Mm-hmm. We've had an influx of new subscribers, and we love you so, so much. This is our tribe. Come meet us live and interact with us. It's more than just watching something on YouTube. It's like we are pretty much at the forefront of like interaction between channels and people from different channels coming to our channel. And it's just like, we're here to share the love. And we thank Creator for bringing you, number one. And we're just ecstatic to have you guys here. So we love you all, especially our loyal subbies too.
Yeah. Thank you guys. See you guys later.
Namaste.